I'm Dave Mecklenburg from Tiger Shark Trade. Today we're going to talk about buying, upgrading, and building your trading computer. But before we begin, I do want to remind you there's a high degree of risk in trading. You've been trading for more than one day. You know that you can and will lose money trading. Only trade with money you can afford to lose. So this is a brand new lesson, I've talked about computers before off and on, but we're doing a full one just to see how this works. So just let you know, I'm not a complete expert on this stuff. I probably know more than everyone here, but if you build your own computers already in the serious gaming stuff, then you probably do know more than me. So I've watched a lot of YouTube videos over the past year, and I can pass on some stuff here. I get a lot of questions about this stuff, but I just want to remind you, not an expert, and if people are going to ask a bunch of questions at the end about upgrading their computer, this is not the place to ask those questions. There's a lot of, it depends. I don't have your computer in front of you. I can't really tell you what to do, but we're going to cover a bunch of things here, and also stick around and answer all your questions on computers, upgrading, where to get stuff, and also stick around and answer your questions on anything to do with trading as well. But number one, I'm not an expert. We like to do lessons in under 30 minutes. So I got kind of prepared slides to discuss stuff. I want to get that done in 30 minutes. And we could spend 3 hours on this, no problem. But try to get straight to the point. Again, I'll stick around and we'll look at computers and things like that. That won't be in the 30-minute time frame. I'm going to assume, again, that most of you guys are not power users. You don't have unlimited budgets. You're not looking for $3,000, $4,000 machines. So that's where we're going on this. Assuming you have budgets and that you're not already aware of what all these things do. And then, hey, this is the first time we're doing this topic here, so not quite sure how it's going to go. A lot of people actually did sign up, so there's clearly a lot of interest in this. But I'm going to use your feedback. We'll change it around. We'll see what you guys are actually interested or what you want me to spend more time on. Again, I just guessed this time through. And then if you guys are really interested, we can do some regular updates, or I can at least send links to what I think is a good YouTube video, or what you guys would be worthwhile learning more about computers, probably, like I say, from other experts. And then when it comes to, this technology is going to change that we're talking about. This is based on today. Then obviously I can update this every so often, maybe monthly, every other month, of what's the best or most budget-friendly things now. So the first point I want to make as we get into this, that your computer isn't going to make you profitable. It's not going to solve your problems. So if you think you'd be the thing holding you back is that you don't have a 4-screen computer monitor rig going for you, I'm telling you right now, is not going to help. Those of you who attend my events, regular events, I always say simple is better. I like to do very simple things, and I don't trade off of 4 computers. I trade off of 2 computers. So, and you got to find out what's going to work for you. And I would encourage you, if you're new to trading, most people who are going to be listening to this are not profitable traders, but hey, get it to work for you on 1 or 2 computer monitors first, and then figure out if you think you need extra monitors, because that's really what causes all these problems here. Once you step up to a third monitor or a 4th monitor, that's what is the problem in building these machines, or what creates all these issues. You can run 2 monitors out of any computer out of the box, including laptops. So hey, problem solved there. But so I just don't want you to think that, hey, you just need more screen space. I also want to remind you, when people were using 4 computers, when they started using 4 computers back in the day, when I started in this, when we still had 14-inch and 17-inch picture tube monitors that, had much bigger fonts because you couldn't read it. You don't have these high definition monitors that you can get a lot on. So there's a big difference between a 17-inch CRT and a 24-inch high def. Right? You can just read more stuff on there, not just on size, but because the fact that you can read smaller things. So You know, a 24-inch monitor might equal well, certainly equals at least two 14 inches, maybe even two 17 inches. So if you're trading off of two 24-inch monitors, I just want to remind you, you got a lot of space. Also, when you guys look at my trade station, usually I show you that there's tabs, and you can flip tabs on one screen. You don't need it all in front of you. And I'd also caution you about needing so much space that you need all of this information to make decisions as well. If you're thinking about what you need to do and you're figuring it out on the fly, I'm not quite sure you're doing trading right. But that's just my opinion. Just want to remind you, you know, maybe you don't need four screens. All right, the second point I want to make is, hey, your business desktops are hard to upgrade. So if you own a Dell, that the most popular brand probably still today, a Dell or a Hewlett Packard, these business computers, they're not built for really upgrades or extensive upgrades or putting a nice video card in here. Again, that's our problem here. If we want to trade off of 3 and 4 monitors, we need a good video card. And a lot of these, the chassis on these business desktops are difficult to upgrade. So, so number one, they're smaller. So even if you get their big desktop, you know, look, I have a Dell XPS. That's their best business computer, but it's still smaller than a gaming computer, and it's going to cause a couple problems. So even if you got that available slot, there isn't going to be room for one of these full-size video cards. You're going to have to get, you know, the low-profile card or the half size or the 1 fan. Certainly not going to get a 3-fan triple slot card in there. So say even if you got that slot, you're going to have to select a card that's going to fit, open it up, figure out what's going to fit. Your most likely problem here is also going to be that the power supply unit in your computer is underpowered, probably around 400 watts, and these nice cards are going to need 500, 600, 650 or so. And a really nice card, even more. So you can't power it. What's going to happen? You're going to burn up your computer. So you can't really put that in there. And then the other thing is, even if something fits, and this is the kind of the key issue that I see people do this, well, okay, they find one that's going to fit, but the problem is the airflow is going to be bad. It's going to block the airflow, not to mention the chassis didn't come with all these, you know, multiple fans that all the gaming computers come with. So you just want to have the airflow. You can't get rid of the heat, and you know, the inside of your computers are going to get hot that you're going to burn out all of your components. Like, you're just going to break your computer is what's going to happen. So like I say, it's a problem for upgrading. But those who have, say, a Dell XPS, HP, just wanted to point out 2 likely solutions. So this is the card. As we get onto a trading computer, you're going to see this the Quattro P620 come up a lot. There's always going to be a choice. And the reason is, these are low profile cards. So the Quattro cards, these are not gaming cards. So if you guys go to Best Buy, Costco, wherever if you were to buy a computer, it's going to have a gaming card. These are workstation cards. And like generally the workstation cards are going to work better because they're low profile. It says low profile here. They're just going to fit, and they take less, they require less power to run these. These are kind of lower ones, but it'll do everything you need to do. Again, the Quattro cards are workstation cards. They're really for businesses. That's why they're so much more expensive. Again, so the P1000 is a lot more. The P5000, these are, you know, we're getting in the thousands of dollars once we get into this. But this is probably the card that will solve most of your problems, and you'll see it as a choice. And again, it gives you there's four outputs for you right there. The second choice is a gaming. Again, I don't recommend this card except for in situations like this. So the GTX 1650, and you see I selected all of the mini cards or the half size cards. See how small this is? Now the difference here though, you can see this is a double slot, right? This is a double slot versus a single slot. So it's going to take up more space. So some of you guys, these just aren't going to fit. You won't have 2 slots available. These are all double slots, but they're not very, they're not long. They're short cards, and they also don't take much power. But these are, like I say, these would be the first 2 you should look at if you just want to upgrade what you got going right now. You want more than 2 screens, and then this is getting straight to the point. Look at these. So the P620 maybe drop down to the P400 if the P620 is not going to work for you, and then take a look at the GTX 1650. All right, so these are the NVIDIA cards. There's 2 makers of cards, NVIDIA, and then AMD is the other maker. But most of the cards you're going to see are going to be these NVIDIA ones. And so there was a nice chart here that I saw, so I wanted to use it. So this is the last generation here, the 1000 series, the 10 series, I guess, 10. So these just came out here. So the new series was that they went to 20, but then they, for whatever reason, had their cheaper cards numbered 16. But these are all from the beginning of the year. These are new cards. These are old cards up here, the 10 series. So you're going to see these maybe close out. If you go to Best Buy, they're going to have these. I would tell you anything above the 1063 gigabyte, you don't want any of these. All right. So if you're looking at older computers, you want this. If you're looking at a 1060, you can say 1060, make sure it's the 6 gigabyte. And then you can see the wattage too as we get in this. The cheaper ones, 300 watt power supply, all the way up and getting to 600. Most of the guys who build their own computers are putting 650 in too. This is kind of minimum standards, assuming again you're not a power user, you're not going to overclock anything and make things hot, right? But this is where I would say, and again, we said the 1650 is only if you get stuck. So this is where I care about is these 3 cards here, where I think for most of you guys, this is where the value is going to be, and especially on price and not too much power. The 1660, 1660 Ti, and the 2060. Those are your 3 cards. All right. Again, we can see when you can just go back, look at the recording. If you want to look at the wattage, look at this list again. But this is where I want to focus on these as probably the best value cards. If you want to go cheaper than this 1660, I'd say instead of using these, going back in time and getting these older models, I think the AMD ones are better. All right, so the cheap ones, the AMD is the RX 1580, 1590. Anything below the 1580, I'd say don't buy. Don't get that RX 570. Again, we'll look at some computers at the end. I understand this might be a little confusing here, but I just want to get to the point on this, the ones that I think you should look at. So these are fine, and you can see how fast they are benchmarking this stuff, that the 1660 is faster in all of them, but you can see these are all pretty cheap cards, reasonably priced cards. So if you want to go cheap, then I'd say, hey, these 2 are the way to go. But my preference would be probably to go with this, the 1660. Then also looking at the 1660, I said the 3 cards I think you should look at, the 1660, 1660 Ti, titanium, and then the 2060. So again, you can see kind of the pricing here. It starts popping up, getting more powerful. And then AMD just released new cards and also processors at the beginning of the month. And these are their new cards, which better compete. It's actually the RX 57 and the RX 57 XT. You can see they're quite a bit more expensive. In response, NVIDIA came out with super versions of their cards. So we can see this is not a super version, below 13,000 on the benchmark, and this is above 13,000. So just a little bit better, and then it ends up being better than these cards. So this is generally, like I said, the ones you should be looking at. You can go back on the video. I think these are the perfect cards for you guys. You're not power users. You don't need these super fast cards. You're not doing hardcore gaming, competitive gaming, and you don't have giant computers that require tons of cooling. All right, and then if you're looking for a processor, I think the i7 is the right one for a workstation for trading. So here's the Intel i7, and then when you see a 9 in front, that's the 9th generation. That's the most recent. You might see computers that say 8700, so that's the previous generation. It's still fast. That's still fine. But I just wanted to show you kind of the benchmarks. They also have an i9, kind of a power user thing. You might come across that. And you can see that's a lot better. And then the AMD Ryzen 7 would be similar. You can see it's pretty close right here. And again, the new Ryzen AMD processors just came out at the beginning of the month. So I put that up, the same two, the Intel i7, i9, and then here's the new Ryzen one. You can see it's actually more powerful than even the i9. All right, so that's where I think you should be focusing, and then 16 gigs of RAM. So those are the components. Let's look at why you shouldn't buy a trading computer. So this is from, I could pick anyone. This was Falcon Trading, and we can look at this more carefully too at the end. But I just wanted to show you what was selected here. So this is the 8700, so the previous generation i7, 16 gigs of memory, and then a horrible, super outdated GT 710. There's actually two of them included in the price, and that's $1,766. So if we grab one of these better cards they have here that I mentioned, the GTX 1660, right there, and we add $241, it's going to put us over $2,000 for a trading computer. All right, so that's 2,000 bucks. Let's just quickly pop over to Best Buy and look at the exact same thing. i7 8700, 16 gigs of memory, the exact card. This is actually a bigger hard drive. That hard drive wasn't on the screen, but it was only 256. This is a bigger hard drive. And the same thing going on here. This is a full terabyte here. So basically almost double for the trading computer. Now there's some extra stuff you get with the trading computer, like support and 3-year warranty, which includes them coming to your house type of thing, but is that really worth 900 bucks? Probably not. All right, so that's a point. And then I want to talk about, okay, well, now if you want to buy it retail. So what's the problem of buying it from retail? So if you bought these computers, so again, I pulled this from Best Buy, but we could look at any other retail store. If you guys aren't Americans, Best Buy is probably the biggest electronics store. So what's some problems? So the problem with these pre-built gaming computers is that they're going to use cheaper parts or non-ideal parts. If you were building your own machine or custom building it, you probably wouldn't use some of these parts. They're going to use these cheaper parts so that they can get to that price. Basically, they've built them for Best Buy, so Best Buy can sell them at a certain price. So they're going to have some cheaper parts. And those cheaper parts are going to kind of undermine the whole point of buying that game computer, which is number one, performance, 2, the ability to upgrade, and cooling, keeping this stuff cool, right? That's the problem with your current computer. You want to upgrade, right? You can't upgrade it because the chassis is not big enough. And even if you do upgrade it, it's going to get too hot. You're going to burn up your components. So the problem is these cheaper parts is you can't quite tell, right? When we go to this Best Buy, hey, it tells us it has all the stuff here, right? This is great. It's got the Intel i7-87. What's wrong? Well, it's got 16 gigs of memory. What's wrong? Well, the problem is they're using the cheapest memory sticks that you otherwise wouldn't buy. The motherboard is going to be the cheapest motherboard, which is going to prevent you upgrading in the future. And maybe the power supply is going to be underpowered. Right? If you're going to custom build something, you might as well get a 600 watt power supply. but this one comes with just enough to run this, or like I say, it's going to be the cheapest manufactured piece, something that you would otherwise not pick for yourself. And those things are going to cause problems. So I would say you're probably never going to upgrade those gaming computers that you buy at Best Buy either. Though, like I say, it's going to be easier to upgrade those things, do extra stuff than it is with the old Dell XPS. All right. So look, if you're not a power user, you're not really planning to upgrade, those computers are pretty good though, especially on sale. If you wait for a sale, and I'm going to show you there's something on sale this week. It's basically the deal is too good to pass up. So I want to show you this. This is like the perfect example. And this is on sale this week. This is a Walmart computer. This looks great, 8,700. This is last year's or the previous model, but it's a 1070, so that's like a nice one. And probably comparable to a 1660 Ti today. Everything you kind of want on this, only $700, discounted from $1,400. Wow, what a deal. But if you were to dig down into the reviews, 36 reviews, 2.5 stars, basically would tell you everything I just told you. Everyone's saying, look, this case is horrible. There's no airflow. They actually bought the cheapest possible case to build these things, and it doesn't actually route air out of this thing. So again, you're going to burn up all your components. But there was all sorts of complaints on this. Basically, the cheapest possible parts. This thing's likely to break and likely to burn up. So what are your solutions? So what I would say, hey, custom ordering gaming computers, probably the best thing. So instead of buying a gaming machine at Best Buy or Costco, you go straight to these same computer builders. Again, these guys, these are the same computers that you're buying. You can buy at Best Buy and Costco, CyberPower, PC, iBuyPower, Cybertron. Normally you see that as CLX computers. Just go directly to their websites and you can totally custom build this stuff. These other two I would say look at as well. These other websites, can you on the recording go back and get it? I kind of like these guys down here. This is Computer Upgrade King, is what it's called. And they make it a little bit easier. And we can flip through this at the end as well to show you that, well, you don't have to select everything. You don't have to go through everything. Again, it's great that you can custom build everything. The more you custom build, you can make sure you're not getting cheap parts. These guys make it a little simpler, but what I also like about these guys is you don't have to get a Windows license. They'll install Windows on it without the license. That's going to save you $100. And you can just go buy a license off of eBay for $5. And the other upside too is certainly if you buy through these places, you won't pay sales tax like you would in Best Buy. Now I live in California, it's like 10%. So the problem is all these guys here are actually in California, at least these two are, east of the city. Also Newegg is east of LA as well. So I assume they're all there because there's kind of a computer industry thing going on east of LA. So, but if I ordered from, any of these other ones or ordered here, I can get out of paying sales tax too. So that automatically saves me $200 ordering from these guys. All right. So I just want to show you. So this was just an example, CyberPower. You can go through and you can customize everything. So you can buy them. Again, if you bought their pre-built, you're in the same problem you have if you go to Best Buy. They're using cheap parts, but you can go in and customize it, right? And if you customize it, you can go in and select exactly which part you want, but you can see the default settings here, right? This is the default card. It just says GeForce, right? Doesn't give you a brand like this does, a brand and a model, so you can look up the exact model, what's going to work for you. It just tells you GeForce, right? Just tells you a Radeon, GeForce. what that's telling you is that's the cheapest possibly. That's the cheapest manufactured card they have. It's not what you want. You want to be able to pick your card. But you can see you can go through on each component and pick the better, essentially the exact card you want, as long as it's a choice. So just be aware of that. This might be a little too much for some of you guys to go through and pick the right part. But then just be aware when it defaults or it's pre-built, you're going to get the worst component. It's also going to slightly add up a little bit, on some of this stuff, but it's going to be worth it to not have the cheapest component. And then your last thing, your choice is building your own trading computer. So I'm not going to go into detail on that because there are tons of YouTube channels. When you go back to the recording, I picked out 7 that I like. They pretty much do that. I like Paul Hardware, who does every month does a build, beginning of the month. He also did one just this week again too. But he just picks 2 or 3 to build. People pick a price point. He says, all right, $900. This is the best we can do for $900. But look on YouTube if you want to build your own stuff. Now, the benefit of building your own stuff is, I understand most of you guys aren't going to be comfortable doing it, but number one, you get all the best components. You actually get something better, right? You get to pick all your components. And then number 2, it ends up being cheaper because you built it yourself. So if one of these guys build a computer for you with your components, it might be 25% more expensive. So you can build a great computer probably for $900. That same computer is going to be $1,200, $1,300 if you bought it. And then also, look, if you build your own computer, you're going to know how to upgrade it. So think about that. Again, I understand most of you guys won't be comfortable, but you're going to get the best of both worlds. It's going to be the best computer, better than things you're going to buy, and it'll be the cheapest. So I was saying, hey, Paul, all these guys build computers regularly, and they'll say what's best, what's going on, like monthly, they'll all have something. But I was just looking at Paul's the other day. He built a computer. So there's this site called PC Part Picker. So he'll build it and tell you these are all the parts. So you can see this is a pretty nice computer. So he used that 2060, which I said was kind of the top of what you guys should be looking at. And he built the computer for $922. And go to PC Part Picker. If you wanted to exactly copy his thing, you could. Buy all the parts, tells you where it's cheapest, Amazon or Newegg or the most. The other thing is it'll tell you if there's an issue. So this one actually had a compatibility warning. So if you want to try your own stuff, you can do it. The reason there's a compatibility warning on this is he used a brand new chip. The Ryzen came out this month, and it's possible that these motherboards that were manufactured a couple months ago don't have the right BIOS in it. You'd have to update the BIOS. And it's just letting you know that. It also tells you what wattage you would need to run this as well. So that's a great site. At the very least, watching these videos, you'll know which parts are best so you can go buy something instead of build your own. All right, so you can see that. And then if you go over to Newegg, if you're going to purchase your parts, usually Newegg is a great way to search stuff. They'll tell you how many, if you want to look at cards, how many monitors. So if you want, hey, 4 monitors, make sure you select 4 monitors. How big it is, like they don't really have single slot graphics cards anymore, but how much space do you have? Can you do a dual or a triple? What memory? How many outputs? How many display ports? HDMI? So all that stuff, you can search on all that stuff. So that's a great way to find stuff. This is newegg.com. So again, these are the good websites. We talked about PC Part Picker. You can put together a computer or look at other people's computers. If you go to that site, you see people who just did a build, what parts they used. Newegg will give you all the technical stuff. You probably buy stuff from Amazon. And then I showed you those video and CPU benchmarks earlier. And the last thing is, hey, don't be afraid. Let's Look, I understand you might want someone to come to your place and fix your computer, but look, if you just call someone or find someone on Yelp to fix a computer, it's going to cost you like 50 bucks. So you don't need to spend an extra $900 on a computer just so you have in-home repair. So don't be afraid to just find someone, probably $50 to fix your problem plus the part. Okay, so we did this in 30 minutes. Again, I'll look at computers with you guys, answer your questions, stick around. If you got some questions, start typing those in. But I just wanted our quick lesson for today is number one, hey, a computer's not gonna make you profitable. And less is more, is my opinion. Retail computers are hard to upgrade. There can be all sorts of constraints in regards to power, heat, space. Trading computers grossly overpriced. The retail pre-builts are going to use cheaper parts that you might otherwise not pick for yourself if you were picking parts. And hey, you can go do those build a custom gaming computer, pick every part. It's going to be a little bit more expensive when you're picking every part. But then, of course, building your own computer is going to be cheaper and better, but maybe not for everybody. All right, so we did that in 30 minutes. Let me start looking at some stuff with you. So here's Falcon Computers. Again, I want to look at your questions here. Make sure I'm not missing something while we're doing it. Again, if you got questions, anything particular, let me know, type it in. Here's Falcon Trading Computers. Most of these guys are similar, right? This is their typical computer. This is their, the one you would probably buy, right? If you bought it. And if we go through here, you can do all this stuff. So instead of a space safe, they're doing a big one. So again, I know some of you guys probably don't want these giant computers sitting around, but the bigger that chassis is, the better it's going to cool. And not just the more you can upgrade it, but it's just going to stay cooler because this stuff gets hot and that heat's going to ruin your computer. So again, you can see that 8700 cost an extra they don't. Okay, so when you see K after a processor, that means you can overclock it. And again, I don't encourage you guys to do that. And it creates more heat. And it's really for kind of people who know what they're doing, power users. If you see an X after the Ryzen ones, so 27X, that's also for overclocking as well. Again, creates heat, and you got to know what you're doing. Again, 16 gigs. You had these horrible, again, 1,700 bucks here, down here 1,766 for just rotten video cards. It's not even video cards. Really what it is just plugs. You're just sticking it in for plugs. It's not going to do anything. So it's giving you, your outputs. But, you always see that P620 in there. Again, what's nice about that, it's four outputs built in. And then these gaming computers are certainly going to be more powerful, but more heat. They also have 4 outputs on those as well. And then again, I don't think any of you guys need to get into 6 and 8 monitors, but then these computers are big enough where you can put in, multiple cards. So in this case of the 710, they're doing 3 cards, or the 1030 doing 3 cards. In the case of the better cards, they're doing two each. If you guys are looking for 4 screens, you should buy, you can get those nice stands that'll hook up 4 monitors. And that if you're going to do that, you should buy all your monitors at the same time and be the same model. It's going to fit better on your stand if everything's the same. This even came with a 550, so most of these gaming computers would be better. Only had a 250 gigabyte hard drive. So there's nothing great about this, but the 3-year warranty on-site service, that's basically what you're paying for this. So it's just grossly overpriced. Here's a PC part picker. You can see you can go in here. So this was Paul's build the other day, but we can go in here and look at what other people are doing. So this is a great site. You know, you can look for, you know, if you're looking for a particular card, what someone did with a 2060, you can see what they did when you go in there. Or, right, so we can pick what we want and see. Let's just see. So a 2060, what did these guys? Oh, you know what? There's a P620 in here too. Well, they don't have the 620, they have the 600, but that'll be good enough. So, you know, maybe look for the cheapest build, budget-friendly 2060, what people were able to do under $1,000. But you can search on this. This is a really nice site. You know, if you're going to build your own or figure out what components should cost. This is Upgrade King. So I kind of like them. So you can kind of pick a computer and then customize it. Pick one of these cheaper ones and then put in the better parts. So here's a Ryzen 7, 16 gigabytes. If you're doing Ryzen, you want faster RAM. That's another issue on some of these pre-builts. So they won't put in the faster RAM. You actually do want the faster RAM for the Ryzen, and you want to actually kind of pay for it. Half gig or half terabyte. And then this is a 580. This is the cheapest card I would do. But $800. Again, I like too that they'll give you Windows 10 unactivated. You go and buy your own key off of eBay. Now, if we bump this up to 2060, now we're almost at 1,100 bucks. Oh, I did a build to match this Falcon one. So here's one. So we did the i7 9700. So we got the slightly newer i7 here. This Falcon was the 8700. This is 9700, 16 gigs. We don't need the fast RAM for the Intel. Half a terabyte. And then the 2060, a lot better video card than Falcon had. And that's 1,200 bucks. So this is a better machine, significantly better than this for $800 less. Okay, I showed you about customizing everything on CyberPower. You can go through, customize everything. What case you want, what motherboard you want, what fans you want, what processor. So again, I understand that'd be a little much for some of you guys, but if you don't want to build it, that's one way to go. Best Buy, I wanted to show you. So again, these are the ones, similar ones exactly on sale. Sometimes if you check and you're looking for a sale, here's a gaming computer right here. Again, it's a business, they call it a gaming computer, but Hewlett-Packard basically can't beat this price on what this is. So if you wait for these sales, you can get these, but there's always going to be issues, right? So if we dig down into these specs, a couple of things I want to check. This is a Ryzen, so I care about the RAM, right? We want at least 3,000, maybe 3,200 speed on the RAM, but it's 2666. So they put cheaper RAM in this. We do have, I like to see how many outputs, video outputs. So I like to see 4. Some of these pre-builts are only going to be 3. And okay, so here we've got 1 HDMI, 3 display port. So it's got 4. Great. They didn't cheap out on that one. and then the power supply. I had to dig through the questions on this. It said, one of the questions said it was a 400 watt power supply. So it's underpowered. Again, you're not going to be able to upgrade this. But again, if you don't think you're going to upgrade it, there you go. That's a pretty good deal. Again, Newegg, you can pick all sorts of stuff, if what you're looking for, what type of card, all the criteria, sizes. Is it slim? Is it long? And then, hey, don't be afraid to use Yelp. Find a good computer repair person if you can't fix things yourself. Oh yeah, I've bought stuff off of Costco too. So there's your Dell XPS. Again, you won't be able to really upgrade that. They have gaming computers. I was looking through this, not really a great deal here. And we just want the Ryzen 7s and the i7s and the i9s. This is the last thing website I'll look at. I'll get into your questions. So, okay, Radeon RX 550, that's too slow, don't want this. Here's a 580. This one's not bad, 800 bucks. Again, we could dig into it and see if it's got enough outputs and what the RAM is. And this is the bottom of 580. So HDMI to 3 display ports, so it's got the 4 outputs. That's what we want to see. Doesn't tell me how fast the RAM is. Oh, it's only got 6 gigs of RAM, so that's not enough. Let me make sure to do 16 gigs is the minimum. All right, so similar to the HP gaming 1060s, that one at Best Buy is a lot better. Once we get into these other things, 1060s, you know, old models. This one looks like a kind of a 1060 Alienware. So there's a couple issues with something like this. That looks like it's kind of good. Again, it's an older video card, but it's top of the line. It doesn't have a SSD, which concerns me at this point. You should really have that, at least even for boot disk. And then you see how much smaller this is? Like, I'm telling you, this thing's gonna get hot. That's my concern with these HP and these Dell. Once you get into these real gaming computers, you see how much bigger these are? You got all these fans here blowing everything. Prevents this stuff from burning up. All right. Any other, I think I've answered all your questions as I've come through here. So let me know, also let me know if you think I said something that was incorrect. Send me an email, source it somewhere, send me a link. Like, don't just tell me in an email, you gotta show me. And again, if you want me to do this stuff regularly, let me know. And we can find good deals. Like I say, that's a pretty good deal for people who just want a off-the-shelf system. And again, we can update this, you know, once a month or once every 2 months, and just find good deals. I look at this stuff anyways. Happy to pass it along. And then also, hey, jump on YouTube for some of these guys. Got really good stuff. And they do make their living talking about this stuff. All right, any other questions? Anything at all to do with trading? Any strategies? If not, we're going to wrap it up. Can I get you guys a video at the bottom of the next hour? Oh, Festival of Traders next Tuesday. Again, 6 new speakers, 6 new lessons. If you haven't seen an invite for that yet, you'll get one this week. And obviously, there's events every week here, or almost every day. So we'll see you at the next. I'll do something. So we'll probably go next Monday, and then the festival will be Tuesday. All right, we'll see you at another event.